So in today's video, what we'll be doing is we'll be doing a programming activity of clustering. Now, whether it be any role for data science as data analyst or data engineer or any such roles in organizations or in companies when they take your interviews, they uh, basically ask the foundations of machine learning, and the foundations of the machine learning is nothing but clustering. So let it be any domain like network domain or the image processing domain, or whether it be the banking domain, or whether it be a customer segmentation pattern. So everywhere there are different types of customers, not all the user behavior are same. So there are some behaviors or user patterns which may be different than the usual due to some changes. So we need to identify that, we need to underline the identifying underlying behavior, why those patterns happen. We need to group them, we need to cluster them and put into different levels, so that later in the future it becomes easier for our identification. So even in our homes or at our homes, we have different things, so it will be segregated at some particular places. So where our utensils or kitchenwares are there, you put in the kitchen. You don't put in your bed or under your table where you sit and study, where you work. So each and everything has particular place. So that becomes easier for identification and it looks good. So essentially, we need to do the clustering. In the real life also we use clustering, but we don't go with k-means. But when you talk in a machine learning sense, you use the k-means algorithm. So in today's video, we'll be seeing on a simple dummy dataset which is taken from the Kaggle, how we can do the clustering, and not only clustering but the results what we achieve from that. And we'll do some insights, or we'll see whether we can get some interestingness measure or detailed insights from the results we have obtained. So for that I have this data. So spending score has a lower bound of 1, that is the minimum. So spending score of minimum stands for like the customer is not that very shopaholic, or if he has a higher score of like around 100, then that person is very much uh, of like a shopping mentality, means they like to spend more. So you have different values in that. So just from the simple observation you can just find out like there is a customer, that is a female customer. uh, she has a spending score of 99, and on the same page you can see like a male customer who has a spending score of 3. So some people are like that. So we need to identify by means of clustering why this happens, or it is because of the age groups, or does the other age group also show the similar pattern, or do they exhibit the same kind of things. We can't just make any statements from just one single data point or one single observation. So we need to do the analysis, and for analysis we need to do the clustering. So that is the basis for all of these things. If you look at the gender column, it's a categorical column. Now currently in this data set there are only 2 values, but in the real world there are many values. For gender, will be restricted only to male and female. We have a column that is a customer ID. So there are customers from 1 to 200 in number, which you can see here. So the operations, like you, if you take the mean, average, minimum, maximum from the customer ID, it won't make any sense. So that will just give you an indexing purpose. So we'll not touch the customer ID and the gender. Then what we are left with the age, which is again a numerical column, annual income, which is a numerical column, spending score, that is 1 to 100. So this data set which you see, uh, a basic assumption is that this might have got from the internal auditing team or the people who are doing the billing or analysis purpose. So the column names is somewhat not pleasing to us. So we need to do some kind of pre-processing in this. We'll see some of the basic pre-processing and then we'll move on to the k-means clustering. Okay. So as I mentioned, k-means clustering is primarily used for a network congestion or network segmentation. What kind of customers are experiencing bottlenecks during the network conversations in like if you have a internet connection, broadband connection. So there you basically do the clustering of customers and identify, is it because of their locality or is it because of some other environmental reasons they are facing these issues. Customer segmentation, which is our current example that will be touch basing for the k-means clustering. Okay, so for this I have my data set, that is the mall customers CV. So first what I do is I'm using the pandas library for reading this CSV file, and this is my data frame. So this is how it looks like. So the Excel file which you saw earlier, now it has been converted into a data frame for our data analysis purpose for EDA. So it has 200 rows and 5 columns. So the volume of this data set is 1000, 1K. Now, as I mentioned, there are some columns like here, this annual income, K in dollars, and spending score 1 in 100. So for a data analyst purpose, or for any person who deals with data, or for a novice person who don't understand these things, for them these things like this 15, 16, 17, if you simply give these numbers, it won't be that much interesting, or it won't convey that much detail. So for that purpose they have given in bracket K dollars, but for our analysis purpose we have to keep it as simple as possible. So instead of annual income in bracket K dollars, we can keep it as simply as income. And the spending score, we know it has a range that is 1 to 100, so we can rename it as expenditure. And instead of just renaming all the columns which are there, we'll just rename the annual income and the spending score. So if that is fine with you, then we have this df dot rename function which is there from the pandas library, and inside that I am just renaming the columns. And here what I'm doing is I'm making use of a dictionary. So where the key is my old key value, or the old column value, and the value to that key is my new column value. So similarly with spending score, I do the same activity, and just don't forget, like, you have to write the in place is equal to true. If you don't write this, the changes will be reflected internally, but it won't be shown externally, means you won't be able to see it. So if I just run this and if I do a df again, you can see it looks pretty much decent. You can understand what these columns are. Now we'll do some basic descriptive statistics. We have already done this in our previous videos on different libraries where I have discussed about different plots. So we'll do one more simple walkthrough of what the descriptive stats are. So for that we have df dot describe and include all. All stands for all the different parameters that are used for statistical analysis. So what I get is here I have different parameters, that is count, unique, top, frequency, mean, standard deviation, minimum 25%, 70, 50% and 75%. Okay. So this is across all the different columns that we have in our data set. So as I mentioned before, customer ID, since it will not be that useful for doing any aggregate operations or any such numerical calculations on this, we will be not uh, putting into customer ID into our picture for our plotting purpose. So for understanding the relationships, customer ID won't serve any purpose. So that is one thing for your analysis purpose, that what feature variables or what attributes you want to consider into our picture. Or for analysis, that depends upon the business use case on what area or what domain you want to work. If you consider gender, so here in this you have only two unique values. So you have male and female. In the real world there are many other gender values, we are not going into that complexity. So one possible thing is like we can put into two different clusters, or we can have two basic clusters. One cluster signifies male customers and the another cluster signifies female customers. But from uh, those two clusters we won't get that much activity. Why? Because my analysis would be like there will be a general talk is like female is more like they are tend to buy more shopping because they have beauty products, makeups and things like that. But it's not true with all the females, but there are females who spend wisely, judiciously. The same applies to males as well. So uh, having a two cluster depending upon the gender for customer segmentation would not be a wise idea for your business. So we can particularly rule out. So what is left? So what is left is the three columns that we have in our hand, that is age, income and expenditure. So obviously from these three things, that is along with the age, what is the income of that particular gender or that particular customer, and how is the expenditure pattern. So the big picture of this particular data set would be how it impacts the economy of the country. So that is a extended version of this analysis, but we are not going into that detail. Our goal is in this video is to do the k-means clustering, so we'll be limiting only to that. But this is a use case that I have possibly given in this. Okay, so since we have identified that we want to look into age, income and expenditure, we'll be using this column for our further analysis purpose, and we'll be working on this to make our analysis and clustering much better. So if you look into the age column, there are a count of 200 values. Yes, and this point 000, this is the granularity by which it stores the numbers. So everything is stored in a floating point value, even if in your original data set it is like integer values. Okay, and there are some NaN values for like there are no unique values, and top value, there are no top values, frequency, nothing is there. The mean, so the important thing for our statistical analysis is like mean. So the mean value of all the age groups out of this 200 values is 38.85. So that is the mean value of the age. Then the standard deviation is nothing but 13.96. Then you have the minimum, that is the minimum value of the age group is 15. So 18 is the minimum age group out of this data set. And then you have the 25th percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile and maximum. So minimum, 25%, 50%, 75% and max. These things are called as the 5-point summary, which forms the basis for your box plot analysis for identifying the outliers and for understanding the underlying distribution. Box plot we have covered in other video. If you wish to watch that video, I'll put the link in the description. Make sure you check that video, how box plots are read and what insights you can make from that. That is the important thing, because box plot you can just simply write a line of code and you can get the plot, but the thing is like you have to understand and what does it convey and what you can do better in order to shape it. Okay, so we are interested in the minimum value. So the minimum value of the age group is 18. Then the quarter, that is the 25%. That is in that range you have around 28.75. So that is the value, or that many observations of age groups are there in that. Then for the next quarter, that is the second quarter, after the 25th percent, you have 36 observations in that. Then the third quarter, that is from 50% to 75%, you have 49 value observations for the age groups. Then the maximum value of the age is 70. So it could be like a senior citizen, uh, or a person who is about to hit their pension age. So you can make certain kind of insights from that. Okay, so now if I ask you what the age distribution looks like from the 5 point summary without plotting any graphs, so you should be able to do it. So for that, how you do that? uh, you take the minimum value, that is the value 18, number 18. You check it with the median value. Median value is nothing but the 50%. So 50% means there are 36. So 36 is the value and the minimum value is 18. You subtract this 50% to the 18. So what you get is 18 observations. So in between minimum and 50%, you have 18 number of observations. So that forms onto the left hand side. If you can visualize it in the mind, so 18 observations falls on the left hand side. Now you take this 50% and just check what is the maximum value. You have a value of 70. Just subtract this 70 from 36. You have 34 observations. So on the left hand side you have 18 observations. On the right hand side you have 34 observations. So obviously there is a particular skewness, means your distribution, whatever is there, whether it be Gaussian distribution or normal distribution, it is not symmetric around the mean value. So this essentially has a skewness, and it is right skewed because there are more data, or the age group is more towards a rightly skewed distribution. Similarly, you can draw some insights with the income and expenditure. So this particular data set that you got, it's not a perfect symmetric distribution around the mean value, but there are some distortions that we'll see when we do some plots. So if you understand how you can do the analysis, statistical analysis, just by looking at the numbers, then you can do the same thing with income and expenditure. I give that an assignment to you. You can put in the comment section if you have any doubts, or I'll check whether your analysis is correct or not. Okay, so now since I told like we want to visualize this graphically, so for that we have learned a library, that is Seaborn, and I'm importing Seaborn as SNS. So I'll just run this, and now I'm interested in doing a pair plot. So in pair plot, since I have filtered, like I'm interested in age, income and expenditure, I will be touch basing on, or I'll be using on these three data frames, or on these three columns. And the kind of diagram that I want to generate from this, I'm interested in having a kernel density estimate, KDE. We know, we have seen what is the KDE. If you don't know, just watch this, and if I just run this, it is generating. Yes. So this is the result of our pair plot, which is generated from Seaborn library. So it is a 3 cross 3 plot. So you have age versus age, then you have income versus income, then you have expenditure versus expenditure. So if you look at the Gaussians, so these are essentially called as Gaussians or normal distributions. As we have made some statements above, it is not a symmetric bell curve, but it is moreover to right skewed. So if you take at the median value, so if I can just zoom this more, I hope you can see this. Okay, so this thing, this particular pin, you can see this is the median value. So if you see there are, or if you draw a perpendicular line, so that becomes the center. So you can see there are some more observations that is towards the right hand side. So that's why I said it's a rightly skewed data or rightly skewed distribution. Similar is with income also. It is not a perfect Gaussian. There are some distortions which is seen because it can be the result like how you collected the data, or it can be also like the data which was collected, it is wrong. It could be a possibility. Or some users, if you do a survey, they won't tell their original age. Like the age would be like verbally told, or maybe due to their lack of their knowledge or due to some discrepancies or some income. So there is no genuineness. Obviously, if you want to have a genuine data, you need to get from the government agencies if they so possess this data genuinely. So then you can somewhat get these distributions in a much better way. So this is a dummy data set that we are going to use for our clustering. Similar is with the expenditure. The Gaussian is not a perfect Gaussian. It is somewhat distorted, but it is more distorted as compared to the previous two Gaussians. So these are the certain insights what we can observe from the Gaussians which are there at the diagonal. So now on the off diagonals you can see some blue points which are there. So these are nothing but scatter plots. So how do you read these scatter plots? So this particular scatter plot is age versus your income, and this scatter plot and this scatter plot are both mirror images of each other. So if this scatter plot is age versus income, this is income versus age. So this is somewhat a mirror image tilted around one particular axis provided where you put the mirror. So it depends on how you want to see this. And similarly, this is age versus expenditure. So this is income versus expenditure, expenditure versus age, expenditure versus income. So if you look at this age versus income, uh, if your goal is to identify relationships from this particular scatter plot is, you can't make much relationships because you can't identify any clusters. So if one person says there are two clusters, and if other person says no, there are four clusters, how will you justify this? Because there are not much relevant informations or ground truths from this, from where we can statistically signify this. So these are not essential for this. So there are some distributions, but currently it's not visible because the lack of the techniques that we currently have. From this we have not done that, but a better approach would be do the clustering. So that's why we have the k-means clustering. Okay, so this is the age versus expenditure. Similar kind of thing is there. You can't make any particular statements on how many number of clusters are there. Does the increase in age have an impact on the expenditure, and so on. So similar is with this. So the off diagonals are mirror images of each other. If you look at the income versus expenditure, that is this one, this gives some interesting results as per my analysis. Why? Because you can see like there are some data points which is scattered in this position. In this area there are some data points. In this position there are some data points. In this position there are some data points. And in the middle there is a very huge dense or a bunch of data points which are just cluttered together. Means there is some underlying relationship that this particular graph is trying to tell you, and it's your job is to identify this relationship and make some meaningful insights from this. Okay, so this image and this image are mirror images of each other. If this is income versus expenditure, then this is expenditure versus income, and so on. So now you understood what is the dependent and independent variable. So in essentially, whenever you do or make any machine learning model, you need to understand what is the dependent and independent variable. So from this distributions, it gives you the idea to choose which parameters you can use for your data analysis purpose. Okay, so scatter plot will give you the idea of what would be the dependent parameters or what variables you need to choose for your underlying machine learning activity. So here, since age versus income or age versus uh, expenditure provides no particular relationships or you can't identify, you won't consider age into your picture for analysis purpose. Instead, you uh, put forth the income as well as the expenditure for this particular purpose. So henceforth, when we do the clustering, our major parameters that will be touch basing will be on income and expenditure. So this pair plot or scatter plot gives you the idea to choose which parameter to consider for your data analysis purpose. Okay, so clustering is simply like putting into different buckets, but the major thing is like what insights you can derive and what better you can get from that. Okay, so if I put in a better way, the income of one particular person is fixed. So if he is like going to a company, or if is a working person or going to an organization, monthly his income is fixed, but his expenditure can keep on changing every month. So if it's seasonal, so in summer times, or if there is a festival in that particular community or culture, then depending upon the fixed income, his expenditure can also vary. In a particular month, it can be observed like there are low expenditure. In some months, there can be more expenditure. So the expenditure keeps on changing, but we can assume the variable income is fixed to some extent. There are some cases where the income is also not fixed. So we'll not handle those kind of relationships. So here, what is the dependent and independent variable? So independent variable is my income. Okay, so for each person, they have different income depending upon what they work they do in the society, and the expenditure will depend on that income. So expenditure is the dependent variable and income is the independent variable. Expenditure keeps on changing depending upon your income, whether it's fixed or not fixed. We'll be considering only fixed income and a changing expenditure. Okay, so now that we have identified what our dependent and independent variable is and what variables we need to uh, keep into account for analysis purpose, now we'll go for clustering. So for clustering again, we can use the sklearn library. So we have used this before for building our linear regression and logistic regression. Okay, so sklearn library has a wide variety of packages for doing machine learning algorithms or building any models on the go, because that's why it is built for. And since Python has all these rich libraries, you can make utilize of this, but there is a shortcoming of this. So not everything is perfect, because like in sklearn libraries, it's everything behind the hood, so you won't understand what is happening behind the calculations and algorithms, how it is done. There are few things in this video where it can be questionable, like how did you get this or how did you decide this. So if you like to have a detailed analysis or like calculation of how these things are done, just let me know in the comment section. I'll try my best to create a conceptual video for understanding the calculation of the k-means algorithm. So when you do this on a paper, pen and paper, it will take some time, around 1 hour, depending upon the number of clusters you want. When you do mathematically, it will hardly take any time. Okay, so first of all, uh, why we require k-means clustering? So k-means is nothing but a primary clustering algorithm for customer segmentation, for putting into different buckets, identifying which customers would be defaulter or non-defaulter in a banking scenario, or which customers would be diabetic or non-diabetic, or not customers, which patients, and email is spam or not spam. So these are simple use cases. that is the toy use cases where you can use the clustering. Uh, in k-means, as I've mentioned, you can see it's a k and means. So k here, the k in k-means stands for a hyperparameter that we'll see in the next snippet, and the means is nothing but it calculates the cluster centroids with the help of calculating the mean. Mean is nothing but this value, that is this mean. So for now, since we are looking into income, we have this mean. For expenditure, we have this mean. So the basic idea is like we have some set of data points. So here in this example, we have 200 data points, and for 200 data points, you have the mean of this data points, and will update the cluster centroids, and then until it is partitioned into two clusters, will keep on updating so that we get a perfect clusters with all the instances which is correctly classified. So uh, this is the code for this. So this is a cluster dot k-means. So this is a method that is a built-in method. You can see like it takes few of the parameters. So the first thing, that is n underscore clusters, is nothing but the k value that the k-means takes. So in k-means, k is a hyperparameter. Now here I have put 5 values. So since in the beginning of this discussion I've mentioned like we don't want to do a segmentation or clustering based upon the gender, because that won't give us much insights regarding our for our analysis. But now why you have taken 5? So like you can ask this why you have taken 5, because there are some reasons, and the number of clusters, or for how much number of clusters you should go, that depends purely upon your use case. So there are some methods in the literature for determining the number of clusters. So that is nothing but one method is elbow method, where it will provide a graph for your number of clusters k and the sum of squared errors. So where the knee of this graph is there, there you will basically get the number of clusters, that is the desired number of clusters. So I have made a conceptual video on the k-means algorithm, so I'll just put the link in the description. Make sure you check that video for your understanding. Okay, so uh, this is just a random thing, or you can also consider like I did that analysis purpose, and then I've decided like I want to have 5 different clusters. So this 5 is nothing but the k. So here it will be 5 means. So 5 clusters uh, signifying different user behaviors. Then comes a second parameter which is called as the init. So when you have the data points, or for clustering, you need to initialize the seeds. Seeds are nothing but your normal seeds for crop seeds. Like if you want to do a crop modeling, or like if you want to do agriculture, or simply if you want to grow some plant. So what you do is you take some seeds, you put some soil, and you put in a specific way. So the way you put these seeds also impact the growth of your plant. If you put all the seeds in one particular place, by the time it's day 6 or day 8, what happens is like it can grow on top of each other. So that's not well diversed. So your distribution or the initialization of the seeds also matters, your final clusters. And so with k-means, that is the same thing. So for initialization, what we better have is a value or a parameter called as k-means plus plus. So when it comes to implementation, we use the k-means plus plus instead of something else, or for random initialization, we don't go with that. Instead, we use the k-means plus plus. Then once it identifies that the customer wants to have 5 clusters, and it has to be, or the initialization has to be done with k-means plus plus, it will invoke or create the object k-means. And then on k-means, what I do is I run a k-means.fit. Now in fit, what two parameters or random variables I want? So from my analysis from this above statistical discussion what we did here, we identified that we want expenditure and income. So these two things are now considered in a data frame. So we can write the data frame in this way also. So I'll pass this to k-means.fit. So it will internally behind the hood do the k-means algorithm and it will give you the result. So this is as simple as that. So there is not much thing that you need to do, but behind it there are much things that you need to understand mathematically. Those things can't be explained by sklearn library or like scikit-learn library. Okay, so this will serve you the purpose for k-means clustering, but it's not good to understand the mathematics behind that. Okay, then this thing, that is one more thing, the n underscore clusters, I mentioned this as the k value, that is the hyperparameter which you need to decide, external configuration that you need to put. This parameter, that is k-means dot cluster centers, we have seen the same thing in linear regression, that is coefficient and intercept. So these things are nothing but the model parameters which you already have from k-means. So if you just run this, it will give you all the centroid values. Okay, so cluster centers are nothing but the centroid values of these different data points which are there. So this is random. So as and when you initialize, you change the number of clusters, you will have different cluster centers. So its variable keeps on changing how you do the initialization. So if you change the initialization method also, this cluster centers will change. So it is simple thing, you can visualize this thing, how it can change. So if you just change the dispersion of your seeds for growing crops, the center, if you calculate, that will also change. There is not much difficulty in understanding this. Okay, then what I want to have is I want to have some labels. So now since I have said like I want 5 clusters, so I want to put some labels. Okay, uh, for this label, this many customers would be there, and for this label, this many customers would be there. So likewise, I need to have 5 number of different uh, clusters. So for that, k-means provides a model parameter, that is k-means dot labels underscore, and it will internally generate some numeric valued labels, like you can consider 0, 1, 2, or cluster 0, cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, and so on. So it will generate some labels for clusters, and if I do df clusters, so this is another data frame which is appended to my original data frame. So original data frame looks like this. So there will be one more additional data frame which will have clusters, and it will have all these numbers. So if you can see, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are nothing but my data points. These are my observations which are there in my data set, and 4, 0, 4, 2, 3, 2. So these are nothing but that particular data point, it belongs to which cluster. So to a cluster, it can be possible that there is only one data point, or it can be many data points. So the same thing, it is simple. So if I do now a df dot head for 20 observations, you can see the newly added column, it is here. Okay, so now 040, you can see all the observations, but here there are other values also. If you want to see like in which cluster how many data points are there, you can use the value counts. We have seen this, it is not new. So in cluster 1 you have 81 data points or observations. In cluster 2 you have 39, cluster 3 you have 35, cluster 4 23, 0 and 22. It's not arranged with respect to this 1 2 3 4, else it would be 0 1 2 3 4. It is in accordance with this, so it is in descending order: 81, 39, 35, 23, 22. It is simple. Now these things you can do simply, just these two lines of code are responsible for k-means. So k means just comes only here, importing and these things. But what after this we do, that matters. Okay. So from this results, what we want is, we want to uh, illustrate or depict a scatter plot. So in our business, when we want to explain, uh, we want to display in such a way that it covers everything. So it has the big picture of all the customers, which is currently taken into consideration. So for that, I basically use scatterplot from the Seaborn library, sns.scatterplot, and it takes parameters like the expenditure and the income. So what is the dependent and what is the independent? Expenditure keeps on changing depending upon the income. So expenditure is my dependent variable and income is my independent variable. And the hue that I'm applying is clusters. So in my graph for scatter plot, I want to see or I want to have data points put into these many clusters. So cluster 0, I have some data points, cluster 2, I will have some data points, cluster 3, I will have some data points, cluster 4, similar. And the data frame that I'm using is the DF. It is as simple. So if I just run this, and if you just look, you have this scatter plot. And if you don't like these colors, there is an option that you can change these colors here by writing some parameters. So this is colors and there are different parameters which you can see here, and you can put the required color that you want to put this if it's not aesthetically pleasing to you. Okay, so I'm good with this, and I hope you can see this. Now comes the analysis part, what we need to convey to our business, or we have done the clustering, right? So what we are going to say to our customer or to our business, so that matters the most, and what action we need to take, what is the interestingness measure that we can derive from this. That is the important thing for clustering. Okay, so you can see on the x-axis, I'll just okay, so on the x-axis you can see the expenditure as I've written here, and on the y-axis I have the income. The expenditure is nothing but a score which is ranging from 1 to 100. So 1 being the least expense and 100 being the most expense. So expenditure has been scaled into buckets, 5 buckets. So this is basically a binning. So 0 to 20 you have one bucket, there you will have some observations. 20 to 40 you will have some observations, 40 to 60 you will have some observations, 60 to 80 and 80 to 100. So 0 to 100, it is divided into 5 buckets, each of 20 in size. It is as simple. Income on the y-axis, lower bound is 20 and upper bound is 140. So again you have a bucket, 7 buckets, each of 20 in size, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120 and 140. It is as simple as that. Now comes our plot. So in the center you can see a legend which shows the clusters. This is nothing but the hue that we have mentioned here, and inside this you have the data points. Okay, so to each of these labels it has internally assigned some colors. So this color that represents 0, or to this data point these many observations are there. So the same thing you can see here. So now since it has given this, and also you have done the k-means, and what things you are going to do from this, or what would be your action from this. So we are interested in doing that. Okay, so where we need to look and how we need to look, what we need to look, these things are important for a data analysis purpose. So first of all, we look into this portion. That is probably, this is, if I'm not color blind, this is cluster number 4. Okay. So in this, what is there is, you have some income. So income in this range is uh, like you have the income in 20 to 40. So you have uh, people who has very less income, like it can be considered like college students or people who take the pocket money from their parents. These people who come to the mall, they do some kind of partying and stuffs, they have probably lower expenditure. So that is understood, that is a usual pattern, that is a natural pattern, that is not, that is not nothing new that you can derive from that. It is as usual. So this particular pattern is that we already know that it exists in the real world. If you have lower income, then you have lower expenditure. Similarly here, if you have higher income, you have higher expenditure. That is, they have a score of 80 to 100 in between. So it is as simple as that. Okay. So now what we need to look is this particular cluster. So that is, your income is high, but your expenditure is very low. So you can consider this as a people who earns a very good amount, but they are wise with their spending. So this you can justify like they are very much uh, financially sound, like where they have to put their money. So these are those customers that are lying in this particular cluster. And there are people, that is this, their income is very less, but their expenditure is very bad, or they have a very high expenditure behavior. It can be like there are some people who have recently got job, but they are putting everything that they need or they don't need. So they are just completely investing their money in things that they maybe don't want, or they are overspending. So similar kind of thing. So, and at the center you have very dense. So this is nothing but this thing. So this, in our scatter plot, it looks like this. So if you have a mid income or mid salary, then your expense would also be mid. So this is a trend that we are going to observe from this distribution or this scatter plot. And you can see there are some data points that is shifting from this cluster to this cluster. So probably there are some outliers, or there are some other justifications for this, but this is not visible from this particular graph. So for this you need to do some time series analysis for this. So the customer behavior and customer patterns changes over the seasons, changes over the years. So you need to take this data, analyze again and again. But this video was just only for the k-means, and this is the basic analysis that we do with this. So if you have any doubts regarding the k-means algorithm and clustering, please feel free to ask in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you out. And if you are watching this video, please do like, share, comment. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And thank you very much for watching this video.